Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglash for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Okay, if you want to know when I start, because I don't always hit the button right on 10 o'clock, thanks for the like. You can go on Periscope and it'll whistle at you when I start streaming live, which is, kind of crazy, but I do that for Scott Adams, to hear his little talks every day. Okay, so first of all, and why does this matter? Vitamin D, a JAMA report, Journal of American Medical Association, very, very prestigious, says vitamin D deficiency raises COVID-19 infection risk by 77%. If you're not out in the sunshine 15 minutes a day, I recommend you are. Vitamin D explains a lot of weird stuff about COVID. Why does it go down? Why do infections go down in the summer? People are out in the sun more. Why are they rising when people get locked down? Because they might be deficient. Why do blacks have more infection rate than whites? Because their skin, because of their coming from really warm areas of the world over, 1,000 generations or hundreds of generations or whatever it is, their skin doesn't produce vitamin D at the same rate, partly because it doesn't need to. Historically, they've been out in the sun a lot, whereas in Norway, us whites, I'm not from Norway, we're more Germany, but the sun goes away for 6 months a year. So you got to be able to generate more vitamin D faster or you die off. So there's a sub-selection going on there, but it may or may not explain at least the correlation between COVID infection differentials by race, but it has to do with the vitamin D levels. So blacks typically have lower vitamin D. The elderly, if you're in a nursing home, you don't get out, typically lower vitamin D. Why does this matter? It matters because if this is true, we're pretty much by it. There's another study that I didn't really read yet, but it says that there's a more complex vitamin D that you can get treated with, and it dramatically reduces hospitalization. But this is just your reduced risk of catching it by 77%. Now, here's one of the really interesting things. Down a little further, it also prevents excessive inflammation, which is what happens in your lungs, which is what was killing people right off in the beginning. And that's the reason they put them on ventilators. Vitamin D is found to increase the risk for testing positive by 77%, while older age, which everybody points to as linked with higher risk, only raised the likelihood by 6%. Okay, non-white study participants are 2.5 times more likely to test positive for the virus. Again, I've explained that. Now, how do they find this? Okay, what they've done is they go into medical records, anonymous medical records, I should say, and look at millions and millions and millions of people. Now we have a pretty good track record of who's tested positive and who hasn't. They look at the differentials, just like I do with my machine learning. I look at who ordered and who didn't, because I have a labeled data set. When this first started out, we didn't have a good labeled data set. But because of the massive testing efforts, we have identified people who test positive versus people who test negative. Okay, got that? Does that make sense? So we have this labeled data set, which becomes our dependent variable. What independent variables correlate with the dependent variable? And it turns out that you can also correlate with people who've tested low in vitamin D. You can look at other factors like race, right? Age, those factors. And you can see which factors out of all the possible connections of things could have impact on COVID-19. You see that? It's brilliant. It's not your classic A/B test. It's the way big data can help you find answers. That's what we do with mail, catalog mailings. Somebody mails out 500,000 pieces, okay? We know that you got it. We know where it went. We know whether you ordered it or not. We know that you saw it but didn't order because people have to look at their mail to throw it in the trash. Simple as that. We know it went to a decision maker because in our house, decision makers decide what goes in the trash. You got to get to it before they get it. My wife has no problem throwing hunting magazines or hunting catalogs in the trash. So I have to get it before she sees it. I don't care whatever else comes in the mail. I just have to find my stuff that I want. Okay? I also like the meat flyers from the grocery, but I can get those online. All those aside, got this? Labeled data set. That's really, really important. Hey, John, I watch your videos all the time. It's so great to see you. Okay, so you got that? This is important because it's the end of the coronavirus, if it's true. And the differential is so massive. 77% differential on this one independent variable, vitamin D. If you're not on vitamin D, go get some. It's cheap. You can get it anywhere. Okay, here's a good one. Amazon just deleted 20,000 paid-for product reviews in the UK. An article came out from the Financial Times. They did an investigation that some of the site's top reviewers may have profited from leaving positive ratings. 9 of Amazon's top 10 UK reviewers dished out 5-star reviews to products from little-known Chinese brands. They found the same products were posted on Facebook groups and forums that offer free products or money in exchange for ratings. So they're making a living, not this. Now, this brings me back to the shed at Dulwich, which I occasionally refer to. A guy who wrote fake reviews, that was how he made his living in the UK, decided he was going to create a fake restaurant just to see how he could do it. He bought a phone, one of those little burner phones, so he had a legitimate phone number. That was all it took on TripAdvisor. And he started shooting photographs and asking his friends to post these fake reviews. He started out at 18,000th ranked restaurant in London, some 18,000 some. In about 6 months, he actually got to the number one rated TripAdvisor restaurant in London. There was no restaurant. It was totally fake. I think it's on Vice. Anyway, look up The Shed at Dulwich. It's fantastic. It just shows you both the level that people are willing to go and how easy it is to dupe these marketplaces, right? Okay? So what it does prove is that there's a lot of fake reviews. This was only from 7 people. Amazon decided to delete the reviews of 7. Just 7 people. Okay? How many people write reviews? Get their friends and family to write reviews for their product. Ironically, Yelp, my sister-in-law started a seamstress business. She's extremely good. She did all the work on my daughter's wedding dress, and my daughter wrote a review. My daughter lives in Minnesota, has a different last name. Yelp blocked it because I don't know why. They said it was fake. It was totally not fake, right? Yelp put up my review. I have the same last name as she does, Miglosh. How hard would that be to spot? Now, she actually did hem some of my pants and made a phone pocket, made it tight, made it just the right size for my phone on my pants. What a cool idea. Find a seamstress. But they didn't block that. So don't ask me about the algorithms. Okay? Now, let's get over. This is a little known story. Trade talks with the U.S. could scupper, that means defeat or water down. I think it's a term for scuttling your yacht when you need the insurance money. It's like deliberately sinking a ship for whatever nefarious reason. Scupper, the UK's online harms bill. So first, you've probably never heard about the online harms bill unless you're a regular watcher of my daily videos. Okay, the harms bill says that the government might better protect people from illegal and harmful content online. Read censorship. Read government decides what you can post on social media. I saw the other day a lady was arrested for a post she made on Facebook, and I think it was about COVID-19. I am not a doctor, disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I didn't even read the JAMA study. I just read the article about the study. Okay, where's that even from? Okay, UPI.com, don't know, just a news service. Okay, anyway, so the point is that some good information can get transmitted by idiots. It could be right. They just don't know whether, I don't know all the factors, all the other independent variables. I know something about how they do this work. I've done some little tiny work with medical companies and picked up some stuff along the way. That's the way most marketers are. Okay, but the trouble is when you talk about protecting people, you're also talking about saying this is false and this is true. Now, the scientific method is based on the idea of open communication because the truth does win out in an open, free world. The UK does not have the First Amendment. There's no guarantee of freedom of expression. No, there isn't. And so this doesn't matter too much in the UK, but it could matter a lot in the world. And especially if the UK starts regulating Facebook, Google, etc. Now, I happen to think that Google, Facebook, and Twitter should be capable of being held liable for the mistakes they made. Like, for example, if they ban and block people who talk about COVID-19 potential simple cures like vitamin D, if they start doing that, not sure about that they shouldn't be also liable for the thousands of deaths that might incur. Something to think about. Because the problem comes down to, okay, you want to fact check it, who fact checks the fact checkers? I actually use, what's that? I don't know. There's a fact checker I use. It turns out there's only like 2 people that actually fact check the news, and they don't have any advanced degrees. They don't have near the education I do, or probably the breadth of knowledge. And they mark something Snopes, that's it. They mark something true or false, or whatever. It's crazy. I've used PolitiFact sometimes. PolitiFact does have the full transcript of Trump's Charlottesville comments, where he says, I'm not talking about white supremacists. It's in the transcript. You can see it on PolitiFact. I'm not telling you what to believe about it. I'm just telling you it's there. Now, what's interesting is PolitiFact usually has this little scale indicator where it says this is true or this is false. They took that off. Why? Because that whole Charlottesville hoax is totally false. And you can read it. Go to PolitiFact. I'm not, decide for yourself. I don't care. This is not a political forum. I'm just telling you that it sounds to me like it's a good thing that the harms bill is getting scuppered. Okay, and in conclusion, we're seeing a boomerang of talent back to the Midwest. I worked with R.L. Meyer Advertising Agency for a couple of years, and we had the Summerfest account while I was there. We got it, and what I didn't realize about Summerfest was it's the largest music festival in the world. Highest attendance, beats Oktoberfest, it beats Mardi Gras, beats anything, and partly because it's 10 days. But hey, you got to put together something worth going to for 10 days, right? I haven't gone since I was a kid, hardly. I go to Festa Italiana and German Fest, and there's fests, normal summers, there's fests every year. I don't know that this was healthy for me not to go and get some bratwurst and corn on the cob, but we did stop in for a drive-through cream puff, box of cream puffs. The state fair was closed, but you could still get the cream puffs. Anyway, there's some great things about the Midwest that you don't probably even know. But when we were doing the Summerfest account, we called them rubber band people. That people would go, maybe get a good degree from Madison, and then they'd go out to California and, invent something or whatever. Like the CEO from Hewlett-Packard, I think it was, Yahoo. Yahoo was from Wisconsin. There's a lot of great people from Wisconsin spread all over the country. Thank heaven for Wisconsin people, or you might not have a decent country. Okay? And then they get out there and they find out everybody's loony on the coasts. They better get back here. And their mom says, come on home. We don't see you enough. So they do. A friend of mine was a big producer. He wrote a lot for Scrubs and Spin City, and he's produced a lot of stuff. And from my town, and now he's got a house here. He comes back mostly, and it's really great. And he's raising his kids here more than in L.A. I can't imagine why. So there's this boomerang of talent. A couple of factors. One is the rebranding of themselves as tech hubs, and Madison has gone great strides in that. Wisconsin got a big boost from Foxconn coming. I hope that's still going. I don't know, but it doesn't take many people of pedigree to come back to Wisconsin from Silicon Valley. My friend Fred, he went out to the coast, made his fortune in anesthesiology, came back to Madison, came back to Milwaukee, worked for GE, worked for a big medical company, got sold to GE, has taught at UW-Madison, UW-Milwaukee, was head of a tech company up in Madison. But he spent a lot of years out there and then came back. So one is rebranding, okay? Another is there's a lot of nice stuff to do. And finally, there is lower cost of living. You also have logistics. Yeah, that was logistics. I remember seeing that in the article. You're in the middle of stuff, so it's not hard to ship. So if you're going to do a startup, I mean, this is why Land's End. They hired farm ladies, and they could speak English very clearly. We have the best or the least, most generic accents in the country, so they can answer your phones for you. They can ship the products. We all work hard. We play hard. We have a good time. If you're out on the coasts, consider the Midwest. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will think you're smart. I'm John Miglosh. Bye-bye. Okay, I got to let it run a little while. That's what I'm doing.